Hi, my name's David Bowman and I'm a guide dog mobility instructor at the Royal Society for the Blind Guide and Assistance Dog Service. So we have about 75 working guide dog teams working in South Australia and about 25 assistance dog teams. So these are the current group of recruits in training. So my role, I train the guide dogs to guide blind or vision impaired people, and then I train the blind and vision impaired people to get around safely with the dogs. So the dogs stay with volunteers for the early part of their training. So they go to volunteers at 8 weeks of age, and the volunteers do basically all the hard works with the dogs. They socialise them and take them to all the public places that they might go to and do all the basic training. So guide dogs come in for training in the harness anywhere between they're a year and a half old. The basics of guide dog mobility is we train the dogs to travel in a straight line, slightly left the centre of the footpath, and they stop when they come to either a curb or a ramp, and they avoid any obstacles that are in their way, making sure that they give enough room so that the client, the blind or vision impaired person, doesn't bump their right shoulder on any obstacles in the way. Some of the things we train the dogs to do is locate the audio tactile pole so the client can press the button to cross safely at the road crossings. Other things we train the dogs to do is catch public transport, buses, trains, trams. The dogs are also trained with traffic training, where we train positive disobedience. So we give the dog the forward command as a car's coming, and we want the dog to disobey that command. We also do driveways with the dogs, where we drive cars across the footpath in front of the dog, and the dog's trained to stop and not move until the engine noise either stops or moves away. As we're training the dogs, we use positive reinforcement. So we can do that several ways. We can use our voice praising the dog. We can use physical praise. We also use sometimes food rewards to train the dogs, or sometimes we might use a toy or anything that positively reinforces a behaviour we want from the dogs. One of the most challenging places for somebody who's blind and vision impaired to go to is the shopping centre. Here's the chance to experience that for yourself.
The journey to the shops from here or to my local shopping centre, which is just over 500 metres up the road, half a kilometre, it's pretty straightforward, but you just don't know sometimes. As soon as you leave the door, you might get around the corner and they've dug the footpath up. Push bikes, kids and that on bikes, skateboards. They're the hazards that you can hear but haven't got a clue where they're coming from half the time. Competing sounds, you've got trams running up and down Jetty Road, you can't hear properly. You've got people bustling and hustling and bumping into you and not watching where they're going. You've got a whole different environment. You get to trust your dog, and I do. I've had her for just over a year now. I trust her impeccably. She knows what she's doing. She knows the shops we go to within the centre, and if she goes to one that I'm not wanting to go to on that day, or you just instruct the dog, not today, fork straight on. To get disorientated, it's good sometimes that your dog knows exactly where you are, and you can tell when your dog's more confident in what you are because she just heads off in the right direction. Well, I can smell the chicken shop. I know that chemist is the first one on the right. I know there's a table and I usually touch it. The newsagents with all them books, there's certain tactile things. The greatest thing is knowing, you know, given weather conditions and all that, knowing that you can just harness your dog and can go.
Hi, my name's Wendy and I'm a puppy educating volunteer for the RSB. I've trained over five dogs since starting puppy educating and been doing it for around about 9 years. It's such an important part of the Guide and Assistance Dogs program. We get the dogs at 8 weeks old and then teach them basic obedience and get them used to socialising in shopping centres and learning to walk up steps and many other things. It's very rewarding to be a puppy educator. Sometimes they teach us as much as we teach them, and watching them grow and learn to become a working dog is very rewarding.